What's going on, you guys? Welcome to another morning on the watch list. Glad a couple of you guys jumped in right away before everything got started. Good to see you guys. It's a Friday here in the United States of America. Again, another morning. Hope you guys get your coffees or your preferred drinks of choice, maybe vodka. Who knows? We're going to jump into some things this morning. I've been doing the RNC recaps all week. That was a good boost. I've been doing RNC recaps all week. Of course, day 4 wrapped up on Thursday and headlined by the Republican nominee, Donald Trump, day after his new guy, J.D. Vance, stepped out. We were looking for that unity message that they've been talking about. I believe it was someone on Fox News said, "You've seen a fighter from Donald Trump. Now we're going to get to unity." As you guys continue to roll in there, how you guys doing, Eric Jensen and Jamal G and Ask? Hello, how you guys doing? Vincent Morales, good to see you guys. So as we talk about the theme of the whole week was supposed to be unity, especially after that assassination attempt last Saturday. We got about 3% unity, maybe. I don't know. There was lots of chance of fight, of course, inspired after that event went down. So they're screaming, fight, fight, fight on the floor from as many people that can be speaking as possible. I'm going to get to the details in a minute. I'm going to let you guys continue to roll in. So I'm going to give you a couple of general thoughts. As they're screaming fight, I tweeted, X posted this out last night. They keep talking about fighting so much. When is somebody going to start fighting? There's plenty of people to punch in the face right there on the floor of the RNC. Just get to swinging. If they just want to fight, just effing fight. Who are you fighting? Who do they want to fight? Who are they saying they're going to fight against? Who are they saying shot at the guy? It doesn't matter. We're just here to fight. They think that's an appealing message. And I guess it is to certain folks, but I'm not sure if it's taking people that were previously against the policies and actions and morals of this guy and suddenly went, well, I don't care about any of that stuff anymore. Actually, I'm willing to relinquish all of my rights because this guy's screaming about fighting all the time. Okay, let's fight. Good unity message that they've got going here at the RNC. We'll see what comes up in a couple few weeks once the Democrats go to meeting at their convention. But there was a lot of weirdness that went on. I might as well start with the first one because right before Trump came out, Dana White, CEO, originator, whatever he is of the UFC, screamed for about 10, 15, 20 minutes into the microphone before Trump came out. But when I thought Trump, when I thought Trump was going to come out, this is actually what we got. And I can't play the sound because who knows? There's all these weird things when it sound. But this guy, if you guys can see him, there's this guy, this older guy in a black leather jacket and a top hat or something, screaming around, bouncing around on stage. His name is Kid Rock. With a big old cross necklace on as he's halfway cussing throughout the song, which was, anyways, this was the intro to Donald Trump coming out. I guess they wanted a nice, exciting intro. I was expecting a little bit of the proud to be an American guy who had the Bible signed and inserted the 10 Commandments and inserted the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, whatever else they inserted into that Bible. I thought that was going to be his intro. He has fewer and fewer artists that are willing to let him use their songs. So I thought that was the intro, but then they got Kid Rock. Maybe it was exciting. Maybe just for the fact that I know the things that was going around with Kid Rock, shooting the Bud Light cans right before and after he was all about Bud Light. It's a lot of fakeness, as I mentioned yesterday. So he came out, it didn't, I felt like 2 songs, but it kept going. And I was like, these old folks hanging out at the convention aren't going to be able to stand much longer for this. It's one of those moments when I told you guys all week, I miss going to the RNC and the DNC. It was always fun times. It was one of those moments when I always thought, I'd love to see what the crowd was doing here. I texted John at one point during Trump's speech, which again, I'll get to in a second. And I was like, what's the crowd reaction at this point? Because it's been about 2 solid hours and the guy's still rambling. He inserts elements of his stump speech on these campaigns, on these rallies, and then he's inserting back and forth to the teleprompter. When he was on teleprompter, it was boring. And when he was not on teleprompter, it was, I wouldn't say unhinged. It wasn't that far because it was stuff we've already seen many times from him. It was just a lot of random offshoot rants about something and then a little story about something that you could tell was a lie, then another side story, then about complaining about things. It just seemed like that's where his energy comes when he just gets to complain. And then when they told him to say the things he was saying from prompter, it got boring. But overall, it was quite long. So Kid Rock came out this thing. This guy's still going on computer. Stop. Um, but after that, here comes some Donald Trump. This is the way he kind of got going. I hope this works fine. Come on now. Here we go. Here's my issues again, you guys. All right. Go. All right. Let me get that screen up. Sorry, guys. I didn't prepare as well for. Here we go.
And we must not dissent or demonize political disagreement, which is what's been happening in our country lately at a level that nobody has ever seen before.
Criminalized
In that
dissent.
spirit, the Democrat Party should immediately stop weaponizing the justice system and labeling their political opponent as an enemy of democracy. Especially since that is not true. In fact, I am the one saving democracy for the people of our country. And we must not criminal dissent or.
So it's not criminalized dissent. Dissent. So he's describing himself as being a dissenter from the current president that's in the White House right now. And then he, of course, leads it to them. They got to stop with these charges against me. They got to stop pursuing criminal charges against criminal activity that I've done. I'm the law and order president. So again, it's just a blatant dismissal of law and order when it applies to him because he's above the law, according to the Supreme Court. And of course, couches it and characterizes it as these Democrats are coming after me. They've never once, none of these cases, none of these trials, none of these charges, none of these convictions and judgments against him, never once have they said, well, he said it's phony and fake, but never once have they put forward evidence and said, everything they say that I didn't do. It was all right there. Still, though, it's a weaponization of our Justice Department. So that's the motivation for why he's running again, by the way, so he can avoid criminal charges because he's a criminal. That's why they had criminals speak at the RNC because they all have something in common. I mentioned that too. Let's go to something else he was going down with. I'm not going to belabor as long as I did on other days about some of these points because it's pretty obvious that it's a bit of unhingedness. But Eileen Cannon was the judge that he appointed. I'm back, you guys. Eileen Cannon was the judge that he appointed. And of course, has been working very hard for him. I guess she wanted a spot on the Supreme Court, but she's doing the best she can from here. He uses her name also to talk about how unfair life has been to him, even though, again, working literally for him to get him from everything he's done.
And very big news, as you probably just read. On Monday, a major ruling was handed down from a highly respected federal judge in Florida, Eileen Cannon,
Highly respected,
finding that the prosecutor and the fake documents case against me were totally unconstitutional, and the entire case was thrown out of court. With all of that publicity, thrown out of court. If Democrats want to unify our country, they should drop these partisan witch hunts, which I have been going through for approximately 8 years. And they should do that without delay and allow an election to proceed that is worthy of our people. We're going to win it anyway, but worthy of our people. On this journey, I am honored to be joined by my amazing Melania.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot Melania showed up. I'll mention that for a second. So he's proud to be joined by wife Melania. Hold on, let me get that in. He's proud to be joined by his great wife Melania. She showed up, didn't say anything, had a little bit of an intro. He came over, I think, kind of did a half kiss on the cheek. But his main point there was Eileen Cannon dismissed those fake charges about classified documents. What was fake about it? What was the fake part? Was it fake that you had classified documents stashed in a closet somewhere in Mar-a-Lago? Was it fake that you bragged about having it and what you could use them for to random folks about how you got these great things and how you snuck them off and then still didn't tell folks after they busted you for having those fake, I guess, fake classified documents, how you then lied to them and said that you gave it all back and then you still held on to some more of them. That was where the problem was with this, because as they point out, yep, Joe Biden had some documents too. After they discovered they had those documents, that was the Corvette story in the garage. He did this really weird thing. He gave them back. Donald Trump didn't. he kept them and said, these are mine. I'm the president. I can do whatever the hell I want. The Supreme Court's going to tell me that in a few more months. And that's exactly what they did. So Donald Trump is still complaining about how they need, now in response to Eileen Cannon working for him, Democrats need to drop all the rest of the charges, because as we already heard, the Supreme Court said that I'm above the law, bro. These were the boring parts of the speeches because he was still on prompter, but they definitely want to go through those points of pointing out that he's above the law. That's I guess who this president is supposed to be, above the law. Let me go for this next one, because this is where he then digs into what I was actually a little surprised that he did. Hold on. I was surprised that he went this direction, because it's not a good look. In fact, I thought they realized that it wasn't a good look, and it's already embedded in enough of their followers' brains that they don't even have to keep saying this huge.
We don't have fierce people. We have people that are a lot less than fierce, except when it comes to cheating on elections and a couple of other things. Then they're fierce. Then they're fierce. And we don't have fierce people.
One more time.
We have people that are a lot less than fierce, except when it comes to cheating on elections and a couple of other things. Then they're fierce. Then they're fierce.
They're fierce when it comes to elections. He's still stuck on that. Yo, I was thinking this last night. They say he's 45th and soon to be 47th president. Well, there has to be a 46th, right? It's a weird acknowledgement that there was a president between the time that you were in office and how you hope to be this coming November. So you've already acknowledged that you lost the race. We've heard the secret tapes of him not knowing that someone was putting forward that he acknowledged he lost the race. This is a constant drumbeat of you not believing in your our election systems here, which they've convinced enough people of it that they had them run up on the Capitol on January 6th. They're still pushing the same thing. It's been debunked. He's been through 18 to 20 court cases afterwards. This is the same things we've heard over and over and over again, except you won't hear it in these types of circles where he's speaking. He lost them. Many of his attorneys dropped those challenges to the election before it even got to the point of having to be talked about within court, because it was bullshit. It just was. So to still push this, the only sole point is to get people to continue to distrust the system. Because again, if he loses one more time, the plan is to just say, yo, it was stolen again. As they then implemented things like collector schemes, calling and trying to lean on secretaries of state to overturn and give me a few more votes. The weirdest part is they attempted to cheat the election and just lost anyway, but still talk about getting cheated. To this day, when is he going to shut that up? They asked him about it at the debate, and he still said, well, I mean, if it's fair, what does that mean? Unless it goes in my favor, I'll still say that they cheated and I lost because of that. Again, because he went on this rant a couple times. Sorry, let me go ahead and share this first. He went on this same rant about in the election that he lost. But this is the wording this time for him. Come on, Donnie. Come on, slow guy.
Going to make a deal with us. And then we had that horrible, horrible result that we'll never let happen again. The election result, we're never going to let that happen again. They used COVID to cheat. We're never going to let it happen again. And they took off all the sanctions and they did everything possible for Iran. And
so we're not going to let it happen again. They used COVID to cheat. How did they use COVID to cheat? You were in charge when COVID struck. You didn't do much about it off the top. So that was your fault that COVID made you look bad, because you were too concerned about COVID making you look bad, and you thought you could hide a global pandemic because you're president. He thought he could hide the fact that he didn't know what he was talking about or didn't care to learn anything about what he was talking about. Called it the China flu again last night. This was just, it was sparsed in with a bit of the oldies of his favorite lines that he uses the whole time. But it really started droning on as he went to campaign and rally messages. Got on Hannibal Lecter again to talk about that. And these immigrants pouring across the border. There was a lot of the same hits. We don't have to go through all those again, but it was a lot of the same hits of hateful things being said. I do want to point out one aspect, though. Very minimally did he mention Joe Biden, because no one still really knows exactly what's going to happen with Joe Biden. He still don't know if he's going to drop out again now that he's got COVID and his other issues that went down, which was very much highlighted in that debate. So the speculation and the possibilities for this change happening are on high alert. And the Republicans want to make sure they didn't form his speech around Biden, 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 Biden sucks, Biden, Biden, he sucks. You know, he sucks, Biden, Biden, Biden. Because after all those soundbites come from him saying Biden a million times, and then Biden's not there, it's going to look a little off, or he doesn't really know who he's attacking. And they don't know who it may be if a replacement does happen. So he has to be very generic. There was one moment that he did mention him, and he kind of told everyone, because he can't keep anything in, that his handlers told him, don't mention Biden because he might not be there. Really fast. May Money in the building. Miss you, man. She says, by the way, thank you for the super chat. Says, J Mac, bro, these people are weird, alternate universe type people. There's no understanding why he kissed that managing like that. Like what? He kissed a managing. Maybe it was that I think it was the firefighter's suit, or his uniform. It was put on like a mannequin type of thing. He ran over, hugged it, and kissed it like he did the American flag that one time. Again, and that was the firefighter that was shot and killed at his rally. I don't know if he's reached out to his family yet, but you know, it's, you know, again, everybody's speech, everyone talking about it was how glorious it was and how amazing he was to dodge that bullet. He went through a long story from his perspective about what it is that happened from his perspective and what he experienced and saw. And it was, you know, it was supposed to be somber, and some folks start laughing in the audience. It was weird. But the idea was to try and make it this statesman-like speech where he recounts his near-death experience and points out all the things that went through his mind. He even started by saying, I'm only going to tell this story once. Bro, you're only going to tell it once because on prompter, they want you to say things a certain way. They'll replay it a million times, but he's only going to tell it once. Okay. It's his prerogative. It was his. What happened next, you guys? Oh, this is what I was talking about with Biden, mentioning Biden. I'll get to it in 1 second. This thing keeps moving on me. I just want to point out, because he actually did accidentally, let everyone know that the idea, I'm still here, you guys. I know I'm just finding this video. The idea, where is it, bro? The idea of not mentioning Joe Biden during that whole time because he might not be there, he revealed it on accident. Where is this? Give me 1 more second. Here it is. There it goes. If I don't find it, I'm just going to tell you guys what I already told you about it, because that's basically it. He gave up the game. This was one of my favorite parts too, because I was wondering if he was going to, he understands when people call out the things they said that are ridiculous. Again, one of his moments from the debate that people did stick on to was the black jobs line. What about these black jobs? He connected, of course, to migrants coming into the country and how they're pouring in and taking white folk positions in the country, I guess, as far as living goes. But when it comes to jobs, those dirty, low-level, inferior migrants took some other inferior Americans' jobs. It's really weird that they didn't tell him that this is probably not the best approach to take, but he did anyway. Come on, man. This thing is jumping around like crazy on me, guys. I'm sorry. There it is. Here we go. Sorry, guys. I'm working alone here.
Millions of people pouring into our country, the black population and the Hispanic population, because they're taking the jobs from our black population, our Hispanic population, and they're also taking them from unions. The unions are suffering because of it.
I'm gonna let this play again.
Thank you. Thank you. I like you too. Thank you very much. And you know who's being hurt the most by millions of people pouring into our country? The black population and the Hispanic population, because they're taking the jobs from our black population, our Hispanic population, and they're also taking them from unions. Unions are suffering because
they're taking them from the Hispanic population and the unions. I might as well toss in unions there so I can act like I wasn't just trying to characterize and put folks in these boxes that we believe the kind of jobs they should have. And the Hispanic population, because by the way, all they care about is folks that are entering the country from the southern border, which I guess many of them is Hispanic population. So they're stealing those jobs, the jobs that we designated, that we consider lower level jobs, that folks who don't have documented status here are fleeing from whatever situations they've got, may take things that they normally wouldn't have taken in other situations as far as work goes. We relegate those things for our lower level citizens. They don't understand that that's what they're saying. They don't understand that that's what people are hearing them saying. They think they're just saying it and people go, oh, good, yeah. As a Black American, man, I'm all for Donald Trump. I'm voting for this guy because he's protecting my lower level job that I'm only supposed to be limited at in this country of opportunity where you can do anything you want. It's, again, another admission. They don't even believe their BS as far as that line. The land of opportunity, where as long as you work hard enough, you can be anything you want and you can do anything you want to do. That is, unless the former administration led by this guy is going to limit you to stay in your place and keep those same jobs that we think you deserve to have, because that's all you're qualified for. That's why this whole week they've been talking DEI hires, from the Secret Service to anywhere else in any higher level positions in our country. It's DEI if someone gets it that isn't a rich, white, Christian, straight male. Other than that, you're lower level. These are white supremacists. These are white nationalists. These are Christian nationalists. They think those are the only people that are deserving of opportunities in this country. They're trying to strip things away from education, as they've always done in this country, because the building blocks to getting to where you need to be is access to education, and then access to these types of jobs, housing, all this stuff, healthcare. There's limitations on all this. And now these damn migrants are coming up and taking the spots of our lower level citizens. They don't understand that's how they sound. Jesus. What else did this guy talk about? Oh, this is some of the, I hearing it right, but he was talking about foreign leaders and the world shakes in their boots because he was in office. They're afraid of him. Oh man. Once Donald Trump stepped into a room, world leaders who cut people's heads off and discard lower level citizens, they're scared of Donald Trump. Either that or they see a lower level dictator in Donald Trump and know that he worships them. So he says things at his convention about how awesome they are all the time. Well, let me close this out. About how awesome some of these folks are. See, it jumped away from you guys. I'm going to find it. Here we go. You won't be surprised as the person that he was about accepting him.
He said, Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, very tough man.
Very tough. He's a tough guy.
He said, I don't want people coming into my country and blowing up our shopping centers and killing people. Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary. He said, I don't want people coming into my country and blowing up our shopping centers and killing people.
That's why people go in our country and killing
Prime
people.
Minister
So
Hungary,
he wants me back in office. He finished that saying, and Orban wants me back in office. So this other fascist leader who's suppressing the media, discarding democracy, trying to keep opposing views off of out of his face, he is endorsing Donald Trump. I don't know why that's a flex. Why is that a flex in the Republican National Convention? Why are there folks, delegates, American citizens in the audience applauding this guy? Because that's who they are. He also praises Vladimir Putin. I'll get to the point when he praised him, Kim Jong-un. He loves these guys because he wants to be like them. He said it since 2016 when he first stepped his ass into the White House. He says, I want people to look at me and stand in attention, just like Kim Jong-un does. And he calls them strong leaders, or he calls them tough guys, because that's who he wants to be, because he's a soft, weak guy. And most of them are. That's why they act like tough guys. That's why there's this veneer of toughness. That's why they have all these folks surrounding them to pump them up based off of this cult they've built. You pump me up, so I will have to stop looking at myself in the mirror and realizing how much of an inferior little person I am that doesn't really have much confidence in my abilities, because I don't have very many of them. So I have to bulldoze my way through life. That's the way these folks operate. They find each other. So Viktor Orban is one of them. And again, American folks at a major party's convention applaud Viktor Orban. How many news outlets are going to ask any Republican that supports Donald Trump why they support Viktor Orban? What about Viktor Orban's policies do they enjoy? Which part about his leadership of his country, if you want to call it that, is appealing to them? Which aspects do you like? Or do you just applaud anything that this guy says? Yeah, Kimberly Guilfoyle was the other one. I'm going to go to this. Stuck out to me as well. Kimberly Guilfoyle was speaking earlier, but this goes to the Viktor Orban stuff, because this is more of an admission of who they are.
Anymore. It is wonder that the heroes who stormed the beaches of Normandy and faced down communism sadly say they don't recognize our country anymore. This is not an accident.
See if you can see what she was saying.
It is no wonder that the heroes who stormed the beaches of Normandy and faced down communism sadly say they don't recognize our country anymore.
They stormed of Normandy and stared down what again? Who were they fighting against? What were they fighting against in World War II? They stared down communism. No fascism anywhere to be found. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but if you're gonna ignore fascism from the Nazis that were that had conducted this Holocaust, led by Adolf Hitler, and you don't call it what it was, it might be because you don't want to anger the folks that are all about your fascist movement now. Maybe the similarities between you and this guy, you don't want people to really see that much, so you won't call it what it was. Because that those folks who were fighting, it was fascism, where they suppress the media, where they have a national religion, where they tell their political opposition, you can either get in line or die. There was this guy that's the leader of the Heritage Foundation that said the same effing thing. There's this other guy who follows the leader of the Heritage Foundation who says 65-70% of our policy we base off of the things you guys tell us. There's this vice presidential running mate that he just chose early this week who's good friends with that same leader of the Heritage Foundation that said we're going to spill the blood of fellow Americans if they don't get in line. And we have a 900-page mandate for leadership that we're putting in place. And Donald Trump knows 95% of the people who were part of putting that together. But they weren't fighting fascism in World War II, because apparently we're not fighting fascism now either, because we're not recognizing what's right in front of our faces. I just want to point that out. Maybe I read too far into what Kimberly Guilfoyle was saying, but what Kimberly Guilfoyle was saying was put on that damn teleprompter, and lucky for her, it didn't fade out, or she might have accidentally said, "in fighting fascism." They just changed it based off of what they enjoy, and apparently they enjoy fascism. There was here's the last piece, you guys. Before I get to the Kim Jong-un, because Kim Jong-un was his last dictator that he was praising because he wants to be a lot like him. It went on for a long time. I think I mentioned that earlier. Man, I still never got a full answer from John. I think he didn't stick around for it either. But I wondered what the energy was like. I was imagining people filing out. It was midnight on the East Coast, I think, before he was done. And of course, they're in Central Time Zone, but people are watching everywhere. Still 11 o'clock, 11:30 at night for folks up in Milwaukee. Must have been an issue for them after a long day of fight and screaming, fight, 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 punch each other in the face. It went on for a bit of a while. I don't know if that's going to hurt him, but it was pretty boring. Last piece here, because I want you guys to hear what he said about Kim Jong-un, because too, he made sure everyone knows it. Come back. There you go. Come on, Donnie.
I got a.
This one's not going to play. Every once in a while, they don't play. Said he got along with Kim Jong-un. He loves him. He's going to want him back in the White House as well, too. We have a good relationship. They get mad at me when I say that I have good relationships with dictators and people who use me, Vladimir Putin. But apparently, they're all really good guys. And the fact that I'm friends with dictators and people who suppress other people's rights in their country, I don't know why they think that I'm anything like them. It's really weird. I don't know how that works. So there's Donald Trump. It was a bit of an underwhelming speech, maybe because I listened to so much that he says already. I've heard it all. So as I was listening, I was like, okay, my brain kind of checked out for 10 minutes. as he went through another diatribe about immigrants, another diatribe about how it's a failing country, it's disgusting. Nothing really about how much he wants to suppress women's rights, because he wants to keep that on the low. But those black jobs are definitely something he had issues with as well too. So that was Donald Trump. Again, I would love to see what Republicans thought about it. And maybe the convention itself, if they believe the next step then is to fight. And then fight in which realms? Fight in the streets, fist fights, boxing matches, guns. I don't know. But they're ready to fight. You had a whole arena floor right there to get to fighting each other. So we'll see. Thanks, you guys. This whole week, I guess it's not as fun watching it from afar, because you have to sit and look at all of this without specifically being there to take in the energy or get the dirty looks from the folks who know who we are walking around there. But I'm glad you guys joined me again on this morning. If you guys enjoyed these morning little check-ins, I know it was supposed to be little and we're up to 30 minutes again. Let me know. Maybe I can even have folks come in, old good friends. I spoke to Ricky Strawn before about getting in here and talking with me. We can spread out the conversations to anything. It doesn't always have to be the wonkiness of politics, but it is very important as we go into this, continuing into this election cycle. We got big news coming, man. I have no idea what's going to go on with the DNC, the Democrats. These murmurs of Joe Biden dropping out potentially because of his latest sickness. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, and who then they would replace them with. That's the biggest question when it comes to Democrats. If they do that, that's the first big hurdle. Next big hurdle is who they would replace him with, and which part of the voting block that may turn off or turn on to being back in. Or maybe if the majority of them just want to vote for Joe Biden, who is having a lot of these health issues. Nothing of his fault. So if we can eliminate that, maybe that's part of it. Some are saying Biden should not step down. Well, but some things may force him to step down. That's the only thing. Life may force him to step down. May Money says my black job fell out of my pocket. Whoopsie. Yeah, you got to pick that up before one of these invasion of migrants comes in and picks that up. May. Anyways, thanks, you guys. Good to see you. I'll read through some of the things you guys said in a little bit on. But back to the normal stream of things. We got a couple videos coming out, of course, pre-produced videos, similarly to what we've always talked about, but of course, with a little bit of a planned twist to make sure you guys see where we're going with these discussions. I got a few of those to put together today. It is Friday. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend. But always come back, check and see what we're doing. We might do a lot more of these as we go forward. Good to see you guys. We'll catch you next time.